I've been recording some ultra slow motion videos with the S23 Ultra camera. I recorded the plasma TV, the LGC1 with and without black film insertion, and I'm going to upload those videos as short on the channel. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a video talking about it, and I'm gonna have the link on the description of that video to the shorts, so you can see the shorts in higher quality, but then I'm just gonna play them on the LGC1. And to be honest, in terms of motion clarity, there's nothing to see. Almost nothing to see, because what causes the motion blur is that the objects are moving fast on the screen. So when you record that in slow motion, they are not. So they are moving slow on the screen. They look perfect. They look perfectly clear. So because what causes the motion blur is what our eyes are expecting, and the persistence. So we don't see that on a super slow motion video. What we can see is maybe some gray to gray limitations. If the gray to gray limitation is huge, we might be able to see that the responsiveness of the pixels is not good enough, or maybe we might be able to see the difference between one display and the other in terms of the gray to gray, but not in terms of motion clarity. Because, for example, I opened the UFO test and I changed the speed to 3840 pixels per second. Okay, so we have a 4K screen that has 3840 pixels on the horizontal axis. So what that means is that the UFO test is going to take 1 second to go from left to right. Okay, at 120 hertz, that looks like a blurry mess. Okay, because we need 4,000 hertz, 4,000 FPS to be able to see that UFO test moving left to right at 3840 pixels per second. Okay, to have 1 pixel of motion blur, we need 4,000 hertz, 4,000 FPS. But at 120 hertz, you know that looks like a blurry mess, but when you record that in slow motion, it just looks perfect. Okay, so I've seen some videos, and I don't want to call out anyone because, you know, I don't do that. But I've seen some videos of people talking about motion clarity and showing a super slow motion video, and that's not representative of the motion clarity. You cannot make any conclusions about motion clarity with that at all. So yeah, you need to understand the Blur Buster's law to understand why. And well, I'm trying to explain you shortly why that is. But I still want to talk about it because it is interesting, especially with the plasma TV. We can see how it is flashing with different colors. It's basically 2 colors I see. It's like a purple kind of color and a yellow kind of color blending together. Because what the plasma TV is doing, it is flashing 10 times per second, and it is using dithering. Basically, those 10 images, they are slightly different. So we see the final result. It's like it's using dithering to produce the image. I don't understand that deeply. What's going on is very complicated. But yeah, it is interesting. It is something cool to see. Record the screen at 960 pixels per second. So right now, this video you're watching is the selfie camera of the S23 Ultra, and it is 4K 60 HDR. Mighty impressive, I have to say. If I look to the outside, there is little to no clipping. Yeah, and it's very bright because this is a snow everywhere, so it is white everywhere. And I have control over the settings. So I have ISO, shutter speed, exposure, focus, which we have an option to focus on the center or focus on multiple objects. I have a white balance option, and I have a microphone option to select if I want to record what is coming from the front, from the back, or omnidirectional. So I am blown away with this cell phone so far. I'm going to do a review, but before I do that, I have to find something negative to say about the phone, because I don't want to sound like, oh, just go and buy the phone, because I'm not getting paid for it. So I want to find some things negative about the phone, and I haven't found anything yet I can say negative, because even the battery life, I believe, I am not sure why, but I believe that the battery somehow is improving a little bit, because, or maybe I am using less the phone. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why would the battery improve, but right now I don't even need to charge the phone to 100%. I can charge the phone to 85% and it will last me through the entire day. So if I charge the phone up to 100%, I go back home and my phone is at 46% of battery remaining, which is mighty impressive. And that's why there's an option that you can limit the charging to 85%, and that is going to give you more life for the battery of the phone based on Samsung. The option has that it says if you use this option, you charge the phone up to 85%, it's going to prolong the lifespan of the battery. And also, you don't want to drop the battery below 18-15%. You don't want, because then you are not prolonging the lifespan anyway. So if it's not going to last you through the day, you are better off just using the full battery. But the thing is, if I need to charge the phone anyway every day, I do not want to charge it until 100% and then it's at 40, 43, 45% and then charge it again until 100%. I just charge it until 85, and that's going to last me through the day, and then I charge it again till 85, and then once the battery degrades, then I will start charging up to 100%. Or if I need to record long videos or do a podcast or something, then I will charge it fully. But so far, man, I couldn't be more impressed with this phone. It's absolutely amazing, especially having all these options, these professional options that I can change on the fly. So right now I have the ISO, so the gain in auto, and it is on 32. I can change it to manual, and I have control. So the thing is, for example, if I change the ISO, which is the gain of the recording, to manual, I cannot go below 50. So if I change it to auto, it will be able to go below 50, and it will be able to go higher too than when you have that on manual. I don't know why that is, but when I have the ISO on auto, then I have control over the exposure, and I can even lower more the exposure. So that is something cool. So the exposure has to do with the gain and with the ISO. So I increase the exposure too much, so I will lower it. So because the exposure has to do with the ISO and the gain, you cannot have the ISO in manual and the exposure in manual at the same time. So basically, when you have the ISO in manual, the exposure is locked. And when you have the ISO in automatic, then you can control the exposure. So it is better if you are on the outside or everything is very bright like now and you don't want any clipping, it is better to have the ISO in automatic so it can go below 50 to be able to capture the highlights, and then you can also reduce the exposure at the same time, which is better. And you can also have the white balance in auto. So if I change it to auto, it makes it a little bit cooler than the settings that I was using 6500K, and in auto it is right now 5800K. It depends where you are. Automatically it's going to change. So yeah, it's very, very nice to have all those options because you can get exactly the results that you want. If I want to look to the outside and be able to capture things that are very bright, then I have to control to do that. Or if I want to capture my face and make it brighter, I can also do that. And it's just insane that the selfie camera can record 4K 60 HDR. Mighty impressive. So yeah, I just mixed two topics on the same video. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, I'm gonna come soon with that super slow motion compilation videos.